Hey guys, it's Bex. Welcome to another video. We are going to be doing a little reading challenge today because I don't know about you, but sometimes I find myself doom scrolling on my phone for way longer than I should when I could be doing something else I love, which is reading. So in today's video, I thought we would spend 5 days reading my screen time, but not my whole screen time. I kind of decided to do it very specific. So I took the 2 apps that I spent the most time on this day last week and added them up, and that's how much I'm going to be reading or how long I'm going to be reading for. Today is Thursday, so I went to last Thursday. I will insert the clip here. And the 2 apps with my highest screen time that were social media apps were, I believe, TikTok and Facebook. Definitely more TikTok. That's going to be a theme. I already know it. And we totaled to 1 hour and 10 minutes. So yeah, that's how much or how long we're going to be reading today. It is already almost 10. It's 9:40. However, that should be doable because I don't work tomorrow. The book that I'm going to be reading is One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. I am only a little bit into it. I'm on page 58, chapter 9. From what I read so far, I was liking it and it was already really easy to read. It's not that long, which is nice because I just finished a 600 plus page book. So this will be a nice little change, but if you don't know, this is a contemporary romance book about, I already forgot her name, but Charlie and Alice. And if you know this author, she wrote Every Summer After, and Charlie was in that book as kind of a side character. So it's really good seeing him again, and I absolutely loved Every Summer After. So yeah, really excited to get back into this. And without further ado, let's start reading One Golden Summer. Okay, I am now not very much farther. Now I'm on page 70. I thought I would give, I don't even know if they're first impressions or what, but where I just got to in the book, kind of as I was starting reading today, Charlie and Alice had basically just met for the first time. So I guess it's my first impressions on their chemistry or banter, whatever you want to call it. I also can't really help but compare it to Every Summer After, and as I said, I loved that book so much. And I think one of the reasons that I loved that book so much was because of the past timeline, and this book doesn't have that, which is fine, but I think just off the bat, it loses points for me because of that. That doesn't mean I can't make them up. And off the bat, Charlie, which is how he was in Every Summer After too, so that's good that he's he feels familiar because he's supposed to, but he's a very big flirt and he's very just upfront about it, I guess. He's already told Alice basically that he finds her attractive, and if he sees her staring at him, he'll be like, eyes up here, stuff like that, which is fine. I just don't think it's the kind of, I guess, banter that I like. I like there to be more silent yearning and tension. Anyway, that was the long version of not saying a lot. But I'm gonna get back to reading now. Okay guys, I just finished my reading for the day. As you saw, I had to read for 1 hour and was it 27 minutes? That was from TikTok and YouTube. Pretty similar for each. So a little bit more reading today than yesterday. But yeah, I'm over halfway through this book now. I'm on page 226. I have like 140-ish pages left. And my thoughts on this book so far, I kind of gave you guys like my initial reaction yesterday, my initial thoughts, but obviously I'm much farther now, and not that I was expecting necessarily for this book to be like 5 stars, but I will say that it's one of those books where almost everything I have seen on it, like people's reactions, have been good. And although I am liking this book, I can confidently say that I'm not quite liking it as much as Every Summer After. But that's all I'm going to say about that, because I'm not trying to compare it, although these are the only 2 Carly Fortune books that I will have read so far. But I still do want to read more by her. Also, this book is literally just so pretty. Like, even the back, the sunset like continues on through the spine and into the back, and it is so beautiful. But yeah, basically we're following Charlie and Alice is a photographer, and her grandma just had hip surgery or something like that, and Alice is taking care of her grandmother and decides that it would be good for both of them to go back to Barry's Bay. Is that what it's called? Yeah. And I will say that I love the kind of grandma-granddaughter relationship portrayal. It's super sweet, and although I think that Alice treats her grandma a little bit like she's just frail and old, because yeah, she is old, but honestly she gets around pretty good, especially for having just broken her hip. And I think that Alice just needs to let Nan, is what everyone calls her, do things for herself, and you can also tell that Nan wants that as well. Then we of course have Charlie and Alice, and as I said from the very beginning, their relationship is very flirty, more so on Charlie's side, because he is just a shameless flirt. He always has been. And it's really sweet because Charlie seems to be one of the only people that Alice feels like sees her. And it even says something like that on the back, if I remember right. Yeah, because Alice sees people. That's why she's so good at what she does, a photographer. But she's never met someone who looks and sees her right back, which is different for her. And honestly, it's kind of sad seeing how people treat Alice. Not that they treat her badly at all. Like, she has friends, they seem to care about her. Her family seems to care about her, but just maybe not in the same way that she feels like she needs to be cared about. Like, they always cancel on her plans, find like basically an excuse to not come. And I can honestly, not in that sense, but just in general talking about Alice, I can relate to her quite a bit. We are pretty similar even on kind of surface level of things. She is very fair skinned and sunburns easily, and I remember when I started this book and was reading it at the beach, she was talking about how she has like 2 skin colors, and I would love to find it because it was so funny, because it's literally me. I'll come back to that part when I find it, but also right here it describes Alice as the good girl, the planner, and how she likes going unnoticed. And that is like literally me to a T. Here it is. Okay, I found it. She says that she burns like birch bark, going from pale and freckled to red and freckled, with no stop at tan in between. That's me, except, I mean, I have freckles, obviously. I'm not freckled like a redhead usually is, but I do not tan at all. And it also seems like she kind of has, maybe not secretively, but a side of her that she doesn't let show very often, where she is or can be a little bit adventurous and spontaneous, which I think I have that too. So yeah, definitely some similarities. The romance has already started. It was even like probably around halfway through the book, which I feel like is maybe a little bit early. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's not a very long book, but I feel like 70-ish% of the way through a book is like my ideal time to like have the romance start, because then you still get enough of it at the end to where it feels like they're not necessarily rushing decisions that they're making, but it also gives you enough of that kind of pining and yearning and tension that you like from them wanting to get together but not getting together yet. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I am probably still gonna read some tonight, which I will probably just tack on to tomorrow and then so forth, because spoiler, I have looked at all the days and my screen times briefly for this video, and there are a couple days coming up where the screen time is a little bit higher if I remember right. So I want to kind of get ahead, and also I have some plans on Sunday for most of the day, so I don't know if I'm gonna get a lot of reading done. So we're just gonna try to maybe get a little head start. And I will just mention this as well because I did read that a little bit today for part of my time, and I will also be reading a little bit more of it today, I think, but it will be in a whole nother video, which I believe you will be seeing before this one. So a little bit of a crossover, but I won't really talk about that book in this video except that I'm reading it also right now, but that is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I'm getting close to being done with it, so I am just trying to finish it very soon. So I want to read that as well and not just focus on this book. But in this video, we're focusing on this book, and that's just kind of a little side, like 20 pages a day kind of book for me. But yeah, that's the plan. I will, of course, keep track of how much extra I read today so that you know how much to, I guess, subtract for the remaining days of this challenge. But I will probably see you guys tomorrow for our third day. Update on my book and my reading today. I did not have very much to read today. I had to read for 33 minutes, and that was between all of the social media. I was out of town, and therefore I just wasn't on my phone. So it's a nice little break, and also I can get ahead for tomorrow because it's a longer reading day tomorrow, I already know. But yeah, so I've already read my 33 minutes. I think I probably read for like 40 minutes today, and I'm probably gonna read for even more. I would like to get closer to finishing this book. It's possible I could finish this book today, but I don't know. I'm on page 279 and we have like 80-ish pages left, so honestly I might, I don't know. But I just thought I would give you guys my updated thoughts on this book. They are somewhat good, but also somewhat not good. I am liking this book. It is a fun, cute summer read, but I'm finding it extremely sexual. And Charlie, honestly, I like him, but he isn't my type of book boyfriend. Charlie is just extremely flirty, and honestly, I'm gonna say cocky. Some people might say just very confident, but I think he's very cocky, and I just think being too flirty isn't my cup of tea either. I don't know. I think it's maybe just, I don't really have a reason for that. And with the sexualization of it, it's not even like super spicy. It doesn't go into detail really in that sense, which is nice. But even with that being said, it's still, I'm not kidding, it probably has mentioned sex like a lot, like 7 times maybe so far, I don't know, and like shown bits of that, which just isn't my favorite. That's a personal preference, but I just think it's really unnecessary when a book does that, because I do feel the more emotional, deep connection between Charlie and Alice, but I think because it's showing and talking so much about their physical relationship or physical attraction to each other, it just takes away some of that deeper connection that I know they have. Those are really my only complaints, but I still am standing by the fact that I don't like this one as much as Every Summer After, but I still like it, and I think I still am liking it more than a good chunk of other adult romances that I read, because although they are a really nice little palate cleanser, contemporary romance books are just not my favorite genre, and rarely am I reading them like 4.5 or up. So yeah, as of now, this is probably around like a 4-star, and although that's still good, I was honestly expecting to absolutely love it because the reviews on Goodreads are like so good and everyone's obsessed with it. So I'm still liking it, but not as much as some people. But with that being said, I am going to read a little bit more and then probably read some of Little Women to again get myself ahead for tomorrow, and also just because I want to read. Yeah, that's my update. Okay guys, it is the next day, the second to last day of this challenge, and I still need to read my time for today. Yeah, last Sunday was really a bad day for me on social media, especially TikTok. As you can see, I was on there for basically 3 hours, but I knew this was coming because I had looked a couple days ago before starting this challenge just to give myself an idea, and that is why I tried to read extra the last couple days. So far, I have read over the last 3 days 1 hour and 15 minutes extra. So today that brings us down to needing to read for 1 hour and 43 minutes, I believe, if I did the math correctly, which isn't as bad. And I will be starting a new book, which I will be telling you guys what it is in a second. But I thought I should also tell you guys my thoughts on One Golden Summer because I did in fact finish this yesterday. I am going to be giving this a 4 stars. Since my last update on it, my thoughts kind of just continued on in that direction. I believe that I already told you guys that I was just finding Charlie to be a little bit too confident to the point of being cocky, and I didn't love that. And that I also just found him a little bit too flirty, which just, I don't know, I guess seems kind of ingenuine to me maybe, because he didn't even know her at the point of already being super flirty with her, and therefore it just makes it seem like he would do that with everyone, which you also kind of know that that is just kind of who he is as a person, and he does kind of do that with everyone, which if you've read Every Summer After, he was like that in that book too, so we already knew that. I just think unfortunately he wasn't my kind of book boyfriend, as you call it, which was kind of one of my problems with this book. But I think the main problem that I had was basically from when the romance starts, honestly pretty early, like I was telling you, probably 45% of the way through to maybe like 90% of the way through the book. There was just so much sexual talk, and it was just really grinding my gears near the end because it was like every other page almost, it seemed like, and it just really bothered me. I think that's kind of a me problem, but I also just think that it was just a lot for anyone, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I obviously am, because this book has very high reviews and ratings and people love it, and I liked it. 4 stars. Again, that is a good rating. It was fun, short, summary. The writing is pretty good. No complaints with the writing. So yeah, I guess that's really my review on this book. And the last book, and I know this is the last book we're going to be reading in this video because it is a chunky one, and that is a book that's right here. Which one do you think it is? If you guessed The Nightingale, you were right. And you might have guessed this because if you saw either my August TBR or my August physical TBR wheel short, then you would know that this was chosen for me from my wheel. So I need to read it in August, and we're halfway through August. So I need to start it because it is big. I'm just curious to see how long it is. I keep forgetting. I think I already looked, but 564. Okay. I feel like anything in the 500 range is still big, but 600 and up is where it really starts getting to the extremely long category for me. I should make a little dent into this book today, and then we will finish off this video reading this tomorrow. I just know that this is a historical fiction about 2 sisters during World War II, and it says right here, it illuminates an intimate part of history seldom seen, the Women's War. It tells the stories of 2 sisters separated by years and experience, by ideals, passion, and circumstance, each embarking on her own dangerous path toward survival, love, and freedom in German-occupied, war-torn France. I'm really excited. This will be my first Kristen Hanna book, And also, I keep seeing things about this book being made into a movie, and I think it was kind of rumored that it was going to star the Fanning sisters, Elle Fanning and Dakota Fanning. But in the last couple months, I think I have seen a confirmation that that is the case. I don't think it's probably going to be released anytime soon, but still it makes me extra excited to read it before watching the movie when it comes out, whenever that is. So let's start The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. Update on my reading on the last day of this challenge, day 5. I feel kind of not bad, but that this video might be boring because I really only read one book. And then I'm starting the second book for this video, but you know what? It's fine. Sometimes you can't always read 3 books in one video because that sometimes takes a while. And honestly, besides yesterday, I didn't have too much time to have to read, so we're just working with it. But today we had to read for 43 minutes based on our screen time from last Monday. However, I did not read as much as I was supposed to yesterday. Luckily, I had read extra the previous days because otherwise I would have had to read a lot more yesterday, and I only ended up reading for 43 minutes. I stopped at exactly an hour left last night because I honestly did not start my reading until 10:45. So I just got really tired. But with that being said, I got a little bit into this book last night, and then I've been reading a little bit today already. I have exactly 1 hour left to read for today, and I did add on the hour from yesterday that I didn't read yet. But update on this book, I'm on page 84, chapter 8, and I know I'm not that far in, but already I am really liking it, and already I really like her writing. The story just pulled me in from the beginning. We have met both sisters. At the beginning, they're kind of on their own, living their own lives. Our older sister, Vianne, I think is how you say her name, is 30, and she's married and has a daughter. And then her younger sister, Isabel, is 19 and is kind of popping around from school to school because she's kind of a troublesome teenager, young adult. And I don't blame her because we learn a lot about their family growing up, and it was not easy. They had to deal with some loss at a young age, and it's really sad. And so immediately you are pulled in and are kind of connected to both sisters. Then pretty early on in the book, the war starts. Someone close to one of the girls, I don't want to give spoilers even though it happens really early on, has to go to war and deal with that. I literally can't even imagine. It's so crazy to me that people actually went through this stuff, the men having to go to war without a say at all if you were between this age and this age, and the wives and children who just had to kind of learn how to live their life for this period of time without their husbands and fathers, and it would just be really hard, and I can't imagine. But yeah, already they've both gone through stuff. Isabel, her journey already has been kind of crazy, and she's only 19, and I feel really bad for her. So yeah, I'm hooked. Sometimes historical fiction can be kind of slow, but so far this isn't. It's pretty easy to read, so even though it is pretty big and intimidating looking, I read 60 pages last night, easy, no problem. I think I'll be able to get through this one pretty quickly. Okay guys, as you just saw, I finished my time for reading for today, which is the end of this video. I know this lighting, by the way, is horrendous, and I'm talking really quiet. It's 10:15 right now. Everyone else in this house is sleeping, but not too much more to say on this book. However, look at that. I'm almost 200 pages in. I'm on page 180. Still really liking it, even more than I was before. And still things are happening that are so sad and unfair. And I just literally can't wrap my head around what that would be like. And I know this is fiction, but I think the fact that it is based on a war that did actually happen is just really scary. And some of the things that I think Kristen Hanna is writing about that is happening in France, I think actually kind of did happen. I don't know my history too well on specifics about what France was going through, but it's just really sad. I'm trying to remember when, but I'm pretty sure that I even halfway teared up already. And also, I think both sisters, Vianne and Isabel, have things about themselves that I don't love, but I also think that they're very just human, I guess. They're not perfect, they make mistakes, but they're still likable, which I think is the perfect combination for a character, because when a character is just too good and too perfect, I find myself just thinking that they're very unrealistic and it's not believable. So really liking these characters so far, and I already feel connected to them and I know them, and we still have a long way to go. I think that is all I really have to talk about. This was fun, and I really just need to be better about not doom scrolling on my phone for hours. I will say that I usually don't do that, as I think we kind of realized in this video, and also I do have set screen time for a couple apps, including TikTok. I think TikTok and Instagram are the two that I do it on, and mostly TikTok is the one that I find myself going over. I think I have it set to an hour for both, meaning combined hour, which is really not a lot, and I definitely do sometimes go over it, but not always. So I guess I could be worse, but I also could be better. I have so many books I need to read that are on my physical TBR, on my Kindle, that I want to borrow from the library, etc. So I should read instead, but I know that's easier said than done. That's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!